Hey, Shalom Israel, this is Captain Osee, and this is another episode of 15 Minutes with the Captains. Today we're going to go into Martin Luther King and the Mind of the Oppressor, all right? We acknowledge what Martin Luther King did for us, but we also must acknowledge that we cannot follow the ways of our oppressor. So we're going to go into his movement, what it was about, and did it line up with the scriptures of how we should go about our relationships with the other nations. Let's read that first article about Martin Luther King. Can you pull that up? All right, read that.
Martin Luther King Jr., an African-American church leader and a son of early civil rights activist and minister, Martin Luther King Sr. King advanced civil rights for people of color in the United States through nonviolence and civil disobedience, inspired by his Christian beliefs.
So it says he was inspired by his Christian beliefs, which we're going to show you is not Christian. Read.
And nonviolent activism of Mahatma Gandhi.
Mahatma Gandhi. So he learned from Christianity and he learned from Gandhi of how to progress our people. So we understand Christianity teaches John 3:16, all nations under one banner, and Mahatma Gandhi with the non-violence. So now we're going to go into the Bible and we're going to examine both of those. Let's go to Proverbs 3:31 first to show you what God says about learning from your oppressor.
This is the book of Proverbs, chapter 3 and verse 31.
Uh-huh.
Envy thou not the oppressor.
What did the Bible say?
Envy thou not the oppressor.
Uh-huh.
And choose none of his ways.
So God told us to choose none of our oppressor's ways. All right? And we've just read, this is public knowledge, that he learned his techniques from his oppressor, Gandhi to be exact. From there, go to Deuteronomy chapter 32 and verse 31. Now we're going to show you, amongst other scriptures, why can we not take the techniques of our oppressors and apply them to the movements that affect the Israelites. This is why. Because our God is not dealing with the other nations. Read that.
This is the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 32 and verse 31.
Uh-huh.
For their rock is not as our rock.
Their rock is not as our rock. Their rock is witchcraft. Their rock is government. Their rock is politics. Their rock is religion. That is not our rock. Read.
Even our enemies themselves being judges.
Uh-huh.
For their vine is of the vine of Sodom.
You see that? Their vine is as the vine of Sodom. So when we're learning their ways, we're going back into evil. Read.
And of their fields of Gomorrah.
Uh-huh.
Their grapes are the grapes of gall.
Uh-huh.
Their clusters are bitter.
And the fruit that come from their actions is evil. Look at our people today since the civil rights movement. Yes, we thank Martin Luther King and we thank all the civil rights activists for allowing us to be able to teach this Bible the way we do. But when you look at our people today, when you look at how we are as a people, the effects of the civil rights movement has damaged black people worse than any other thing. Now we're transsexual, we're fighting for gay rights, we have no businesses, we have nothing since the civil rights movement. Because why? We follow the ways of our oppressors. From there, go to 1 Maccabees, chapter 1 and verse 41. So where did Martin Luther King get the doctrine of joining hands with his oppressor? That everybody can walk hand in hand and be one nation under God. Where did that doctrine come from? Did it come from God? Did it come from Christ? Did Christ teach that? We're going to show you where that came from in the Bible. Read that.
1 Maccabees chapter 1 verse 41.
Uh-huh.
Moreover, King Antiochus wrote to his whole kingdom that all should be one people.
That all should be one people. That little black boys can hold hands with little white girls. And yellow black girls can hold hands with dark black men. That was what Antiochus wrote. Read it again.
Moreover, King Antiochus wrote to his whole kingdom that all should be one people.
That all should be one people. Read.
And everyone should leave his laws.
You see that? Everyone should leave his laws. Keep reading.
So all the heathen agreed according to the commandment of the king.
You see that? That's what they want. Everybody to be in commandment to the king. But we don't bow to no king but Christ. That is the issue. Martin Luther King didn't understand that our king is Christ. That is who we bow to. From there, go to Deuteronomy chapter 7 and verse 6. Deuteronomy chapter 7 and verse 6. This is why we can't bow to the commandment of the king and everybody join hands and be equal. Where men are not judged by the color of their skin, but the content of their character. That's not biblical. Read that.
Deuteronomy chapter 7 and verse 6. For thou art an holy people unto the Lord thy God.
Read.
The Lord thy God hath chosen thee to be a special people.
A what?
A special people.
Read.
Unto himself. Above.
Hold on. Read that part again.
Above.
A what?
Above.
God says that the Israelites are above all people. So if anybody is coming to you with a doctrine of equality, that is not in the Bible. Christianity and their understanding of John 3:16 is not biblical, thus saith the Lord. And that is where we went wrong. When we wanted to be equal with everybody. That shows you that you have the mind of your oppressor. Finish that verse.
Above all people that are upon the face of the earth.
Go to Ezra chapter 4 and verse 1. So now we're going to show you. We wrote that we're above all people. Now we're going to give you an example of righteously how we dealt with the nations with that understanding that we just read. Did we understand that we were above all people and try to unite and hold hands with our oppressors? Or did we hold ourselves to a different status and different structure than everybody else? Read that.
This is the book of Ezra, chapter 4 and verse 1. Now when the adversaries of Judah and Benjamin heard that the children of the captivity builded the temple unto the Lord God of Israel, then they came to Zerubbabel and to the chief of the fathers and said unto them, let us build with you, for we seek your God.
They said, what? Let us march with you. Let us join hands with you. Let's go to Birmingham together. Read.
For we seek your God as ye do.
For we think we seek civil rights the same way you do. Read.
And we do sacrifice unto him since the days of Assur Hadad.
And we pay taxes the same way you pay taxes. Read.
King of Assur, which brought us up hither.
Read.
But Zerubbabel and Jeshua and the rest of the chief of the fathers of Israel.
The fathers of Israel, this is what they said with the understanding of the Bible and who they were. Read.
Said unto them, ye have nothing to do with us.
Read that again.
Ye have nothing to do with us. To build a house unto our God.
You see that? That is what happens when you're applying the Bible and the scriptures. You would never join hands with your oppressor as you try to build your own nation back. And we always say this. The so-called, the Caucasian man can never mention the name of Martin Luther King because they murdered him. And that was the grave mistake that he made. Finish that verse.
But we ourselves together will build unto the Lord God of Israel.
Read.
As King Cyrus, king of Persia, hath commanded us.
So when you understand the Bible, guess what? You're going to build by yourself, which is why they ultimately killed Martin Luther King, which is why they killed Malcolm X, because what? They understood that in their latter years. They weren't joining with their oppressors, and they got them out of the way. Now, from there, go to 2 Corinthians chapter 6 and verse 17. Now we're going to show you some scriptures backing up exactly what I just said. We just gave you a biblical example of us not joining hands with our oppressors in order to build the nation of Israel. Read that.
This is the book of 2 Corinthians chapter 6 and verse 17. Wherefore, come out from among them.
Do what?
Come out from among them.
No, join them.
And come out from among them. And be ye separate.
Hold on. What the Bible say?
and be ye separate.
But they call us separatists when we don't celebrate Christmas. They call us separatists when we don't celebrate Black History Month. They call us separatists when we don't celebrate Thanksgiving. But God says to be separate. Read.
Saith the Lord, and touch not the unclean thing, and I will receive
you. See that? In order for God to receive you, you must separate yourself from these nations, from the heathen, from the ways of your oppressors. That's the only way God's going to deal with you. Revelations 18:4. So what are we showing you? We're showing you that the doctrine of unity and one nation under God and Black Lives Matter and whatever else you want to come with, that's not in the Bible. Read that.
This is the book of Revelations 18 and verse 4. And I heard another voice from heaven saying, come out of her, my people.
Hold on. Come out of her who?
My people.
God is only speaking to one nation of people, whether you believe it or not. This is the book of Revelations. It ain't talking about some mystery spiritual Israel. He's talking about the nation of Israel. Read.
That ye be not partakers of her sins, and that ye receive not of her plagues.
From there, Proverbs 11 and verse 21. Maybe you say, that don't sound right to me. Let's see. Let's go to the book of Proverbs. We went to the New Testament. Now we're going back to the Old Testament. Precept upon precept, line upon line. Read that.
Proverbs chapter 11 and verse 21. Though hand join in hand, the wicked shall not be unpunished.
So God says, even though you join hands with Martin Luther King, Stokely Carmichael, all these individuals, you can join hands with whoever you want. Read.
But the seed of the righteous shall be delivered.
Read it again.
Though hand join in hand, the wicked shall not be unpunished.
The what?
The wicked shall not be unpunished.
The wicked will not go unpunished. You can do whatever you want. What you done, you will pay for it. Thus saith the Lord. From there, go to Isaiah 13 and verse 13. And we're going to read down to verse 16. So what are we showing you? We're showing you that God calls for a separation from the nations. He never called us to unite with all nations and everybody forget the commandments and we just love Jesus Christ and everything's good in God. That's not in the Bible. Read that.
This is the book of Isaiah chapter 13 and 13. Therefore, I will shake the heavens, and the earth shall remove out of her place in the wrath of the Lord of hosts, and in the day of his fierce anger. And it shall be as the chaste roe, and as the sheep that no man taketh up.
Read.
They shall every man turn to his own people.
Read that again.
They shall every man turn to his own.
There's going to come a day when each man will turn to his own people. So why are you trying to assimilate to a nation that is not yours? Read.
And flee every one into his own land.
You see that? We all going back amongst our own people, whether you want it or not. Daniel chapter 2 and verse 42. Daniel chapter 2 and verse 42. So what are we showing you? Once again, we're showing you that assimilation, that joining hands with your oppressor is not biblical. Read that.
The book of Daniel 2 and 42. And as the toes of the feet were part of iron and part of clay, so the kingdom shall be partly strong and partly broken.
That's America. It's partly strong and it's partly broken. Why? The military is the strongest that you ever seen. The economics is strong as you ever seen. But guess what? Back at the ranch, the nations are fighting amongst each other. Back at the ranch, millions of blacks were brought here as slaves. And they still continue to be considered second class, third class citizens, if not denizens. That's why it's partly strong and partly broken. Read.
And whereas thou sawest iron mixed with miry clay, they shall mingle themselves.
We shall mingle themselves, read.
With the seed of men. But they shall not cleave one to another.
But these nations will not cleave one to another. This is what MLK did not understand. No matter how much you want to try to mix and match black and white and red and yellow, all nations ain't meant to be together. Each nation is given its own allotment of land, its own language, everything. Only in the land of confusion, Babylon, did they bring all the nations together. But from the beginning, it was not so. Did you finish that verse?
No, sir.
Keep reading.
Even as iron is not mixed with clay.
Now from there, go to Isaiah chapter 8 and verse 9. So what is the punishment for joining yourself with these nations? Let's see. What has happened to us as a people? Since we've been here, we lost our identity. We lost our culture. We lost our language. We lost our dress code. We lost our dietary law. We've lost everything. When you assimilate, you lose everything. You got that?
Yes, sir.
Read it.
Isaiah chapter 8 and verse 9. Associate yourselves, O ye people, and ye shall be broken.
And what?
And ye shall be broken.
Keep associating yourselves with your oppressors, and ye shall be broken. Read.
In pieces. And give ear, all ye of far countries. Gird yourselves, and ye shall be broken in pieces. Gird yourselves, and ye shall be broken in pieces. Take counsel together, and it shall come to naught.
And it shall come to naught. That's like the civil rights movement. We're still marching over the same things from over 50, 60, 70 years ago. Read.
Speak the word, and it shall not stand, for God is with us.
Psalms 106 and verse 34. So it's showing you that all the councils that were set up over the years, all of them have come to naught. Black people are still marching for their rights unto this day. 70, 50, 60 years later, still trying to argue that they are men and they are equal. Read that.
This is a book of Psalms 106 and 34. They did not destroy the nations concerning whom the Lord commanded them.
Read.
But were mingled among the heathen and learned their works.
Read.
And they served their idols.
Which what?
Which were a snare unto them.
And ultimately, this has become a great snare unto us. So what does God tell us to do? Micah chapter 2 and verse 10. Last verse. So in all, we've learned that us in America, we have the mind of our oppressor. But we must come out of that mindset. We must open up this Bible and apply it. Read that.
This is the book of Micah 2 and verse 10. Arise ye and depart.
What did the Bible say?
Arise ye and depart.
This is what we must do as a people. We got to arise and depart out of the understanding of what is right according to America. Read.
For this is not your rest. Because it is polluted. It shall destroy you, even with a sore destruction.
So we must understand that, guess what? What we learned here, it will destroy us if we do not come out. But if we come out from amongst us and we gather ourselves together, salvation is awaiting the 12 tribes of the nation of Israel. So that's my class, y'all. With that, we say shalom.
What is a nation? Nation is men leading by example.